Welcome to Being at Home with George. I'm excited to be here. And let's begin the way we always begin, by embracing, saying yes to life, embracing whatever comes up, and at the same time, generating hope so that we can make wise choices. So I often talk about this idea of the freedom and power to choose. And one of the things I want to talk about today is making a choice of how we interpret something. So something happens and then we interpret what it means. And so last week when we did the experiment with half full, half empty, that's like a paradigm. That's like coming from abundance when it's half full, or scarcity when it's half empty. And that has everything to do with our ability to see things in ways where we're interpreting things based on the opportunity that it reveals. We're interpreting things in ways where we have more access to power and possibility. And so we know from Shawn Achor's research, 90% of our long-term happiness is predicated on how our brain and our nervous system interprets our experience. Not 10%, but 90%. So how we perceive things has power and is really important. And so one of the things that I've been aware of is when you're in growth mode or you're in half full and you're able to interpret things in ways, something happens, then we get to choose how we interpret it. And you can interpret it in ways that gives you access to more power, more possibility. And so, give you an example of that. One of the things that I learned early on in my recovery is this idea of reframing, or understanding that I make choices. And if I can create space between stimulus and response, in that space, I have the freedom and power to choose. So, we talked about the 3 C's I've talked about before: commitment to development, control. I can't control what happened to me, but I can choose my response to it, right? And then the other thing I talked about was seeing things as challenges. And we know this from the research working with elite performers, that when something happens, most of us would see it as a roadblock. They see it as a stepping stone. And so you see it as a challenge. And so this idea, we can see things and difficulties and challenges and see them as opportunities. So the growth mindset helps us with that. Because on the cellular level, you're either in survival mode or growth mode. It's either half full or half empty. And so this idea of understanding that the freedom and power to choose, and I choose to interpret things in ways that motivate, inspire, empower me. And so that is like seeing, for instance, like a lot of us are in this time of chaos or danger, you might say. And we're so focused on the danger, we don't understand that each crisis, even in chaos, there's order. We just haven't figured out what the order is. But in each crisis, there's two meanings. One meaning is danger. We get that one. What we don't get is the opportunity. We can see the opportunity. We can use the growth mindset that says, what's the lesson? What do I need to learn? And the thing that's helped me over these 40 plus years is this idea of learning, growth, and development. So me being a learner, being on the path of learning and achieving. And one of the things I discovered through learning and achieving is that it generates this energizing enthusiasm, so that I'm seeking to understand, seek to understand, then to be understood, by understanding myself and others and how this universe works, and aligning myself with true north. And that has to do with principles which are timeless, universal, and self-evident, which is important because now I can get the feedback and see, is this true, is this not true, and can I have a direct experience of what's being offered. So in a nutshell, what I'm really saying is, if you don't like what's happening, you get to choose how you interpret it in ways that give you access to power and possibility and the expression of your masterpiece within.